Quilter's newsletter, Machine Quilting Tips and Techniques, is brought to you by Bernina, Made to Create, and Benartex, Fabric for Quilters by Quilters.
Hi, I'm Connie Fanders, and this is Quilter's newsletter, Machine Quilting Tips and Techniques with Bernina. And today we are doing quilting with our embroidery machine. And here I have a quilt that I have started that I am randomly putting embroidery designs on the quilt and then filling it in with stippling stitches that I have done with the Bernina stitch regulator, which I have shown in previous episodes of the show. But what I want to show you today, instead of just randomly placing them on the quilt, I want to show you how to place it exactly in the square of your quilt. So to do that, I'm first going to take my jumbo hoop, and this is the largest hoop that comes with the embroidery machines, and this hoop is large enough to do a 10-inch quilt block if you would like to quilt a block, or it works great for these rectangular pieces or for even borders of your quilt. What's so wonderful about the jumbo hoop is our release system. All you need to do is push here and it simply releases that inner hoop. And then after I would have my fabric again, with the ratchet here, all I do is turn it and it tightens right up, and then my fabric would be hooped perfectly. So I'm going to go ahead and hoop my fabric and prepare it for machine quilting. Now, as we have said in previous episodes, you do not need to use stabilizer when you are quilting with the embroidery machine. I have here my batting and backing and my quilt top already put together. Need to release my hoop. Then that inner hoop slips right in, and I ratchet it tight, and I'm ready to go. Now I am ready to go to my embroidery machine and prepare it for stitching. With the embroidery machine, I do have the slide-on table. I do have that attached because that will help to support the size of our jumbo hoop. And I'm also using the straight stitch needle plate, which has a single hole opening for the needle. And that's going to help support the needle as I'm doing my embroidery stitches. So now let's take a look at our screen on the machine and change it from sewing mode into embroidery mode. You know, that's one of the wonderful features of our Bernina machines is we can toggle back and forth between sewing and embroidery. So here I select the home button and I select the embroidery module, and I am in embroidery mode. So now I'm going to go back to the home screen where I'm going to select the design that I want to quilt on my quilt. The design that I want to use, I actually have stored on a USB stick that I have plugged into the machine. So I'm going to select the embroidery file or the USB stick, and then I can scroll through all of the designs until I find the one that I would like to stitch out. And I think I'll choose this one here because it's a beautiful one for borders. And right here it is now calling for the mega hoop, which is another optional hoop for our machines. But I actually have on the jumbo hoop, which will work perfect for this design as well. So I have my quilt that is in my hoop, and I have the hoop attached to my embroidery machine, and I'm ready now to go to my screen and place the design exactly where I want it to be in my quilt block. So now we can see the embroidery design on my screen, and what I can do, we have a function or a feature called absolute check, where I can just touch anywhere on the screen that I want, and the machine will move to that exact needle placement. So right here, I want to see where the end of this design is going to be. So now if I look down at my fabric, my hoop is moved to right where that place was that I pointed to on my screen. So if I were to stitch this embroidery design out right now, the bottom of that design would be here. Well, and actually I want it moved over a little bit, so what I can do is go back to my screen and move it over. So now I'm back to my screen, and I can simply go to the mode here where I can move my embroidery design over while watching on my fabric where that point was where I wanted the bottom of the design to be. Then after I have that centered, I want to make sure that the sides of these designs stay within my block. So now we can look down at our fabric again and see that this point here is now right here on our fabric. Now what I continue to do is go back to my screen, touch a point on the design, and I just make sure that it is placed exactly where I want it to be. I can enlarge it and reduce it if I need to. So once you have the design placed exactly where you want, then it's time to sew. So to go into sewing mode, I select the needle and I'd press the go button and it would be ready to stitch. So now we are ready to quilt our embroidery design on our quilt. So I select the on button, the machine begins to stitch. It takes a few stitches so I can clip the thread and then we continue to go. You can see how beautiful it is when using a contrasting thread. The embroidery design stands out so nice, and it is stitched just to perfection. All of the stitches are perfectly even. Now that our embroidery design is completed, you can see how we have been able to perfectly place it on the edge of the block. And looking at the entire design, you can see why many quilters are quilting now with the embroidery machine. You can get these beautiful feathers by your embroidery machine that are perfect and stitched with precision. So thank you for joining us with our series on machine quilting with the embroidery machine. And be sure to join us for more quilting tips and techniques.
Quilter's newsletter, Machine Quilting Tips and Techniques, is brought to you by Bernina, Made to Create, and Bernartex, Fabric for Quilters by Quilters.